Here's something most people never want to admit. The reason your hips feel like rusted hinges, the reason you grunt getting off the couch, the reason your lower back aches by noon. None of that is because you're getting old. It's because you stopped moving like someone who's alive. Stay with me, because what I'm about to break down will change the way you think about your body, your age, and honestly, the story you've been telling yourself about both. I've worked with people in their 50s, 60s, even early 70s, who moved like they were 35. Not because of luck. They understood something most people don't figure out until something goes wrong. I'm going to show you exactly what's happening inside those hips, why stretching alone isn't fixing it, what you actually need to do differently starting this week, and the mindset trap that keeps people stiff and stuck for decades. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, this is just how it is now, this video is for you. That thought is the most expensive thing you own right now. Let me ask you something. When did you decide that stiffness was permanent? Because somewhere along the way, most people quietly accept it. They stop bending down fully. They start shuffling instead of striding. The body just does this, they tell themselves, and there's nothing to be done. I get it. From the inside, it really does feel that way. But that belief costs you something every single day. Not in some vague, motivational sense. Literally, physically. Every week it sits there unchallenged. Your nervous system takes it as instruction. Two kinds of people end up in this position. The ones where something specific happened, an injury, a surgery, a hard year, and the ones where nothing happened at all. They just stopped. And slowly, quietly, the range disappeared. That second group is most people. Maybe it's you. The path back is more available than you've been led to believe. Stiffness isn't a verdict. It's a habit that got comfortable. Here's the truth about your hips. They're not broken, they're hibernating. The hip flexors, the psoas, the glutes, the deep rotators, all of that tissue is built to move through a full range every day, in every direction. But when you sit for hours, when you repeat the same narrow patterns over and over, when you stop doing anything that actually challenges that range, your nervous system makes a quiet decision. It starts treating that range as dangerous, not damaged, dangerous. That distinction took me a while to really understand, and it changes everything about how you approach this, so it tightens things up. Guards. Your body isn't failing you. It's protecting you from movements it hasn't seen in years. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just working from outdated information, and nobody told it to update, which means you can update it. You can give your nervous system new evidence. That's not a motivational reframe. That's the actual mechanism behind every real mobility recovery I've seen. This is the part most people miss entirely. Stretching a tight hip without first waking it up is like pulling on a locked door. You're not opening anything. You're just creating force against resistance. That's why you've stretched and foam rolled and done the same routine and woken up the next morning feeling exactly the same. The tissue isn't releasing because the nervous system hasn't been given a reason to let go. Stretch without a signal and the tissue braces. It's not stubbornness, it's self-preservation. Your hips don't move in straight lines either. They rotate, hinge, circle, compress, decompress. But when most people finally decide to work on their hips, they do a couple of quad stretches and call it done. That's like trying to fix a car by polishing the hood. I was doing this for longer than I'd like to admit, before I understood why nothing was changing. What the nervous system actually responds to is variety, novel ranges, slow, deliberate exploration that signals, this territory is safe, I'm choosing to be here. Once you get that, everything you've tried before starts making sense. You weren't lazy. You had the wrong tool for the actual problem. So what does the right tool look like? Controlled articular rotations. Slow, deliberate movement through full range with real intention behind it. Not stretching to stretch, not forcing anything open. You're doing slow hip circles, 90-90 transitions, deliberate hip lifts with a pause at the top. And what you're actually doing is sending a repeated message to your nervous system. This range is safe, it's accessible, it's mine. Do this consistently for 7 days. And I mean really consistently, not once and forgotten. And the shift is real, not metaphorical, real. The kind where you stand up from a chair and notice it before your brain even has time to brace for the usual stiffness. Before your feet hit the floor in the morning, 10 minutes on the ground. Hip circles in both directions, full range, slow. Then 90-90 transitions on both sides, staying long enough in each position for the nervous system to actually register safety rather than threat. Then slow hip lifts, 3-second pause at the top. This is not cardio. Think of it as a conversation you're having with tissue that stopped trusting you. At some point, midday, do it again. Doesn't need to be long. Short and intentional, done twice, will outperform an intense session done once and never repeated. I know that sounds too simple. It isn't. The people who move the best at 50, 60, 70 are not special cases. They didn't win some genetic lottery. They just never stopped treating their body like something worth maintaining, and they didn't wait for pain to make the decision for them. There's an identity gap in here that I want you to sit with. Two kinds of people are watching this right now. The reactive ones, who wait for pain to motivate them and manage decline by calling it jizzing. And the intentional ones, who choose their physical future rather than inheriting it by default. Neither group is born that way. It's a decision, usually a quiet one, usually made more than once. Which one are you right now? Because staying the same isn't neutral. Every week spent with locked hips is a week your body learns that restriction is normal. The nervous system adapts to what you give it. Nothing, and it tightens. Real challenge, and it opens. That's not philosophy. That's just how the tissue works. And I want to be straight with you about something. How many times have you told yourself you need to work on your mobility and then didn't? I'm not asking to make you feel bad. I'm asking because that gap between knowing and doing is where decades of stiffness actually live. The people who feel younger in their bodies aren't the most informed people in the room. They're the ones who show up on the floor every morning, even when it's uncomfortable. Not because they have more discipline, but because they stopped waiting to feel ready before starting. The stiffness you're carrying right now is also uncomfortable. You've just normalized it. So you're already living with discomfort. The only question is which kind? The kind that builds something, or the kind that quietly takes things away? Framed that way, 10 minutes on the floor in the morning stops feeling like a cost. It starts feeling like the obvious move. Your hips aren't stiff because you're aging. They're stiff because your nervous system is guarding ranges it hasn't seen in years. Stretching doesn't fix that. Signaling does. Slow, deliberate movement through full range tells your nervous system the territory is safe again. 7 days of that, done consistently, changes something you'll actually feel. Stop waiting until it hurts enough. That's the reactive version of this story. You're watching because some part of you already knows you want something different. If you want the full 7-day protocol laid out day by day, exact sequences, timing, progressions, I put it together as a follow-along guide. Links in the description. free. Use it. Your hips aren't old. Your movement diet is. Change what you feed them and watch what comes back.